Ladies, I know I'm normally talking to you, but this week I'm talking to your husband. So while I do still want you to listen, be sure to share this with your husbands, with your friends' husbands, anybody who is married to a crunchy mom like you. These are the people you're going to want to share this episode with. For you guys who found your way here, whether you found it yourself or maybe somebody shared it with you, I'm guessing you didn't click on this episode just because you had nothing better to do, right? There's a good chance you didn't come here because you were just curious. You came here maybe because you're confused, maybe a little irritated, possibly concerned. Your wife started reading those labels. She started changing the groceries she's bringing home. She asked questions that nobody's ever asked before around you. And suddenly, words like toxins, seed oils, hormones, or nervous system are being used at your dinner table. And you probably found yourself wondering, is this necessary? Is this safe? Is this fear driven? Or maybe even, is this going too far? Let me say this clearly right out of the gate. This episode is not here to make you crunchy. I'm not here to shame you, to scare you, or to convince you that everything that you've ever trusted is wrong. This episode is here to help you understand what's actually happening in your wife's mind and body when this shift begins. And how you respond, more than your agreement, will determine whether this season strengthens your marriage or quietly strains it. Because, see, for most women, this change didn't just start because of a podcast or a trend or a reel she saw on Instagram. It might have started with other things that make a whole lot more sense. In fact, it often starts just with becoming a mom, or maybe with exhaustion, or maybe watching her body change in ways no one prepared her for, or maybe realizing that the systems that she has trusted didn't protect her the way that she thought that they would. And when that realization hits, something ingrained inside of her turns on. It's not rebellion, it's responsibility. So today, I want to walk you through why this happens, what she's actually trying to solve, and how you can support her without feeling that you have to abandon your logic, your skepticism, or your role as a leader in your home. You don't have to agree with everything that I say or everything that she thinks to stay unified, but you do need to understand what is at stake. So let's talk about it today. Let's go. Welcome to If Mama Ain't Healthy, Ain't Nobody Healthy. I'm your host, Lori Morris, a Christian midwife, mama of 3, and wellness coach who believes your body isn't broken, it's beautifully designed by God. Here we talk about how to restore your energy, balance your hormones, and find peace and true wellness in your body again, no matter what stage of motherhood you're in. Whether you're pregnant, postpartum, in the messy middle of mom life, or you're trying to conceive. And we do it all through biblical truth and practical, holistic living. Because you're not meant to just survive motherhood, you're meant to thrive in it. Let's dive in. All right, guys, if this is your first time here, welcome. I normally ask for my listeners, my regular listeners, to take some time at this point to go leave me a review over on Apple Podcasts because that helps me so much to find other women just like them. I know that doesn't necessarily fit your description, right? And since this is your first time here, I know that you may be a little hesitant to do such things. But at the end of this episode, if you have found that this episode has helped you, if you could leave me a review, it would help me so much. And maybe even share this with some of your other guy friends who are like, what is really going on in my life right now? Okay. Because I am here to try to help you understand, as somebody who went through this transition out of the conventional into the so-called crunchy a long time ago now. I know that husbands struggle with this. If they are not the ones that found their way into it, if it's their wives that do it, they start wondering, why is my food changing and what's really going on here? And I just want to try to help you understand it. Okay. So let's just go ahead and get into it. All right. The first thing I want you to understand about your wife as she goes through this and as she's making these changes is that it is not rebellion. She is not just pushing back for no reason. This is a responsibility inside of her that's turning on that maybe had been asleep. Most women don't go down these crunchy rabbit holes because of something they saw on TikTok or Instagram or wherever else. They go crunchy. And by the way, crunchy is just a term that is used to describe people who are trying to do things naturally. Okay. So if you didn't know what crunchy meant, now you do. But most women don't go crunchy just because of that. They go crunchy because something turned their risk radar on. Okay. Motherhood itself does that. Motherhood flips a switch in the brain of a female that heightens pattern recognition, threat detection, long-term consequence awareness. So they're really starting to pay attention to things that they'd really never thought about before, because now they have these tiny humans relying on them to protect them, to nourish them, to keep them well. And so we start to consider things we've never considered before. We start to try to make ourselves healthier than we ever have before, and then also make our children healthier than we ever have before, because we really never thought about it before. And usually before we're moms, we kind of think we're invincible. And there's this very real thing that happens inside of a woman when she becomes a mom. And I don't mean to say that you can't understand it, because I know that men have a different perspective and protection that turns on in them when they become fathers. But just understand there is something very deep and very hormonal that happens for your wife at this time of life. And so these things are not separate, they are very much connected. So when she starts questioning food, products, medications, or routines, she's not rejecting it outright or rejecting the authority that's perceived with these things. She's responding to a biological and spiritual call to guard what has been entrusted to her. Okay. Your wife did not wake up wanting to fight the system. She's not just picking a fight just for fun. She woke up wanting to protect her home and to protect her babies. Okay. Now, you don't have to agree to be what you need to be for her. Your support of her does not mean complete instant buy-in. It means that you're just creating psychological safety for her, so that her discernment can mature rather than going underground. I think oftentimes men don't understand how much women need to feel this psychological safety. This isn't some buzzword or liberal term to make you think that she just needs that she's soft. No, she is processing things and thinking through things and trying to be the best mom she can be. And she needs you not only for your physical protection of her, but she needs you to protect her heart and her mind, and to give her space to work these things out. A lot of times you'll hear maybe your friend saying, or maybe you've heard yourself saying things like, she's overreacting. This is fear based. This is extreme. But what I need you to know is when you say those things, what she often hears instead is that she's alone in this, and that she's being dramatic, and that you don't trust her judgment, even when she feels very much justified in what she's thinking and based on what she's learning. Your calm presence does three crucial things. One, it lowers her nervous system. It helps her to breathe and to be able to function in a place that is not full of stress, and that is crucial. It improves her decision making, because from that place of peace and safety and not being stressed, she can think things through better and make better decisions. And it presents secrecy and resentment. And this one is huge, okay? Because you don't want her doing this in a corner by herself. You don't want her hiding things from you because she's afraid that you're going to be mean to her, or that you're going to judge her, or that you're going to make her feel like she's doing something that's not smart, okay? She wants your approval. And so if she is convicted about these things, and she's trying to make these decisions for the betterment of herself, her children, and your family, your as a whole, your home, but she feels like you don't agree with her, she feels like you're going to judge her, then she very likely is not going to be able to abandon what she's been convicted by, but she's going to try to hide it from you and do the things anyway because she knows they're right, but she doesn't want to disappoint you. She wants your support. You don't want her to resent you or hide things from you. And these are not like bad things to hide, right? It's not like she's hiding sin. These are things that she is hiding because she knows that they're what's best from what she has researched and learned, but she feels you won't approve. And you don't want that. You need to create a space of transparency and openness to where you are curious and trying to learn rather than automatically going on the defensive and shutting down. You can say things like this. If you're like, I don't know how to do this. Like, I don't know if you're like a, manly man, you're like, I don't do this whole kind of talk thing. That's fine. I'm going to give you some ideas of things you can say. You can say things like, help me understand what made you think about this. And then listen and hear what she's telling you. Something like, what outcome are you hoping for in applying these things? What would make you feel safer or more grounded for both of us? Any of these statements or things like that will help her to feel that you are unified with her, even though you don't necessarily agree or understand everything yet. She will be okay with that. She doesn't expect you to completely understand and completely jump in with her, but she does need you to give her the space to learn on her own and then apply the things and have you there next to her on her team trying to hear her and understand. See, most crunchy shifts that people go through are not about like reducing load and adding more rules to your life. It's not about that. And sometimes it can feel like that when you're not the one making the changes. You can feel like she's just trying to make me change stuff. She's giving me more rules, more restrictions, more work. And that's how it can feel. But what you need to understand is from the inside, it's actually about removing burden because she's realized that so many of the things that she's trying to change are tied to things like inflammation in your bodies, things that are making you feel bad. She wants less inflammation in your family, less sickness, less anxiety, less burnout, fewer emergencies, fewer trips to the doctor, fewer needs for these kinds of things. She has seen that the way that she's been doing things, the way the world has told her to do things is not the best way. And now she wants to do things better. And she knows that in making these choices, that your bodies will begin to heal from a place of less inflammation, less sickness, less anxiety, because these things, inflammation, for instance, is the root of so much sickness. And so when she starts to see that, hey, when I cut back this thing gets better, she's going to want to cut back this thing. But now that thing may be what you've always loved, right? It might be the potato chips. It might be the French fries. It might be the Friday night pizza. And it can feel very punitive and very restrictive when you don't understand it. But she's not trying to restrict you or to punish you. She's trying to stabilize her hormones. She's trying to regulate her stress. She's trying to reduce the long term dependence on a medical system that she no longer trusts. She's trying to create resilience in your home. She's not trying to control your life. She's trying to make it run with fewer breakdowns. And when you understand that these changes are going to lead to a calmer, healthier, more functional wife and a calmer, healthier, and more functional family, it's possible that you might realize that the changes that she's wanting to make are really good and that you're going to be glad that she made them. I didn't intend this episode to be a time that I go into all the changes. I have lots of other episodes about those things. You're welcome to go listen to those to learn about it. Like last week, I talked about seed oils. Seed oils are one of the first things that a lot of people try to pull out of their cabinet and replace, and that might make you feel a little bit weird. Like, why is she throwing out the vegetable oil? I thought that's what we're supposed to use, and then you start to ask questions. That's completely understandable. I address all of those things and more in prior episodes and in episodes to come. So just because I normally talk to women doesn't mean that you can't listen and learn along with us. I also have a great new community called Verity Village. The word verity means truth. And inside of that village, we are coming together to learn more about living in a healthy way that lines our bodies up with God's design so that we are no longer struggling to live in a society that teaches us that certain things are healthy that we have found are totally not healthy. We instead can come together with like-minded individuals to learn. So check that out. If you really want to be a good husband, tell her that it's okay for her to come join us, even though there's a monthly expense. See, I have taken our group outside of places like Facebook because there's so much noise, there's ads, there's junk that we don't want to expose ourselves to. And I've created a place that is quiet, that's away from that distraction, that can really dig down to learn things together. There's a resource library that has a vast amount of information about things like shots, about things like herbal remedies, about birth, all kinds of things. And I would love for you to check that out and see if that might be a place that you could allow her, and maybe you as well, to go learn together as you grow together. But my ultimate goal is just for you as a man to understand that she's not doing this for no reason, and she's not doing this to make your life more difficult. She's doing this to help you. And I know that you are busy and you have a lot to do. So I don't want to make this episode long. I just want to get the wheels turning, that being in her corner and on her side and trying to understand where she's coming from is only going to make your relationship stronger when she knows that you support her and that you will at least attempt to understand where she's coming from. You don't need to become crunchy overnight, but your willingness to stay curious instead of critical may be the very thing that keeps your marriage strong while your family grows wiser. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I would love to help you along your way. And be sure to go ahead and subscribe to the podcast on your phone if you haven't already. And then that way you can get those future episodes and learn more and more alongside your wife. Hope you have a great day, and I'll see you back here next week. If you were blessed in any way by today's episode, please take a minute to share it with a friend you know needs this info, or just post a screenshot on your Instagram stories and tag me so that I'll know you love this episode. Then come join us in Verity Village, my exclusive community built just for Christian women like you who want to learn to be well and live in alignment with God's design for their bodies. I'm in there every day chatting with the members and sharing information about a broad spectrum of topics like natural health, vaccines, nutrition, and the Bible. So you'll have a trustworthy, faith-based source away from noise and distraction for growing in your health and faith this year, along with a community of like-minded women. Also, I'd love it if you would head over to YouTube and subscribe to my channel. You can find links for all these things in the show notes. I'm so very thankful for you, and I look forward to hanging out again with you right here next week.